The tale commences with the protagonist reflecting on his father's sage advice to prioritize the clan above all else, forsaking personal desires, and remaining a loyal companion to his brothers, akin to a shadow. Encircled by knights, a figure cloaked in black lies prone, blood dripping from his head and mouth. Approaching this scene, another figure comments on the grim spectacle before them. As the blooded figure lies amidst the carnage, the observer acknowledges his remarkable feat of single-handedly combating the continent's strongest commanders, as expected of his renowned brother. Standing face to face, the observer addresses the protagonist as Cyan Vert, to which Cyan, with a cold and disheveled countenance, responds by calling the man Boris. Boris's mocking laughter is swiftly quelled as Cyan, seizing his dagger, conjures a mist charged with mana and energy, demanding answers regarding Boris's motives. With one hand poised with the dagger and the other resting at his side, Cyan questions Boris's allegiance, pondering whether the Emperor commanded his actions. Struggling against Cyan's formidable presence, Boris recoils from the potent mist, confirming rumors of Cyan's origins as an assassin from mist. Struggling to withstand Cyan's powerful aura, Boris explains that mist is an organization akin to a shroud to their Knights of Light, and he intends to report to his superiors that he has eliminated an impure entity affiliated with the heathens. Cyan, summoning all his strength and preparing for another assault, challenges Boris to report him if he even possesses the means to do so afterward. Cyan assures Boris that there will be no tooth left in his mouth once he's finished. Attempting to hold his ground against Cyan's overwhelming presence, Boris advises Cyan that if he intends to unleash his secret power, now would be the time, as a ninth-star magic barrier envelops them. Conjuring his power, Cyan resolves to escape this place somehow and uncover the mastermind behind this alongside his brother. With a menacing glare and his dagger raised, Cyan declares his intent to shatter the barrier. However, another figure intervenes, commanding Cyan to cease, as he strides past the knights and Boris, who bow in deference. Cyan is shocked as he recognizes the figure and recalls his father's teachings, to live for the clan, with his brother Ashel being an extension of that clan. Ashel Vert's success is Cyan Vert's success. As Ashel gazes disapprovingly at Cyan, the latter, bewildered, questions whether his brother was behind this. As Ashel approaches Cyan, sword in hand, Cyan falls to his knees. Ashel remarks on Cyan's confusion, stating that Cyan has fulfilled his duties admirably, for the clan, the people, and for Ashel himself, leaving Cyan stunned. As Ashel continues to stare downward, he remarks that he's merely attempting to lighten Cyan's burden. Cyan, lowering his head and resting the dagger on the ground, voices his confusion, asking if he's done something wrong. With a piercing gaze, Ashel declares that the ominous fog surrounding Cyan reduces him to nothing more than a murderer, questioning if Cyan can even be considered human anymore. Cyan is left stunned and speechless, sinking to his knees on the ground. Ashel's voice rises in anger as he accuses Cyan of deceiving them for too long, demanding to know if Cyan can truly claim ignorance of his sins. Hearing this, Cyan struggles to comprehend his brother's accusations, his anger and distrust growing until they morph into pure hatred, echoing in his mind. Cyan recalls his pivotal role in the Empire's succession battles, the Demon King army's raids, and the continent's unification wars, all undertaken in service to Ashel, whom Cyan considered his life's purpose. Frustrated, Cyan pounds the ground in frustration, lamenting his brother's abandonment after 2 decades of loyal service. Despite his injuries, Cyan stands up, determined to give his all to destroy Ashel, even if it means sacrificing himself. As Cyan unleashes his full power, soldiers and Ashel alike marvel at his seemingly inexhaustible strength, doubting his humanity. Surrounded by mist, Cyan calls out to his brother, mocking Ashel for attempting to kill his own younger brother out of fear and questioning his sanity. Angered, Ashel glares at Cyan with contempt as Cyan attacks him from both sides, preparing to strike his weak point. However, Boris conjures a barrier to shield Ashel from Cyan's attack, prompting Ashel to cruelly stab Cyan through the stomach, causing him to drop his dagger. As the two brothers face each other, Ashel remarks that he had intended to grant Cyan a painless death as a favor, considering their fraternal bond. However, he asserts that this is no longer possible now that Cyan has revealed his true nature. Cyan, writhing in pain from his wounds, listens in disbelief as Ashel declares that he knew Cyan's true colors all along, branding him as a demon and admitting that he never truly trusted Cyan from the outset. This revelation leaves Cyan utterly stunned as Ashel kicks him free from the sword and strides away, ordering the soldiers to depart and leaving Cyan lying wounded on the ground. Bleeding and in agony, Cyan curses internally, questioning if this is the end and reflecting bitterly on the foolishness of his life. His eyes darkening with anger, Cyan rises to his feet and lunges at Ashel as the latter walks away. Ashel notices Cyan's attack and turns to face him, prompting Cyan to seize his dagger and strike, nearly reaching Ashel's throat before being impaled by Ashel's sword, bringing about his demise. As Cyan jolts back to life, clutching his neck and breathing heavily, a maid scolds him for his prolonged sleep, urging him to pull himself together and get ready. Startled, Cyan shouts Emily's name, demanding to know why she's there. Oblivious to the confusion, Cyan remarks that it's been almost 20 years since they last saw each other, noting how she remains unchanged in his memory. Looking around, Cyan recognizes the room as his childhood quarters, noting the familiar furniture arrangement. Realization dawns on him as he wonders if he's regressed back to childhood. Lost in his thoughts, Emily accuses Cyan of stalling for time, insinuating that he's reluctant to go for training. A moment of silence fills the room as Cyan questions Emily about the training she mentioned. Outside, in the Vert clan duchy, Cyan looks around and is certain that he's been transported to the past. Contemplating his situation, he wonders if this is his life flashing before his eyes before death. Reflecting carefully, he recalls that this moment occurred 27 years ago, on March 1, 985, during the annual duel training session held by the duchy. The event, attended by Duke Vert, Cyan's father, and the duchy's owner, is a significant occasion. Cyan's opponent is Cyan Vert, his half-brother of the same age. Cyan's mother, Margaret Erzeth, is the Duke's wife, granting Cyan more attention despite both brothers being the youngest in the family. Cyan, as the Duke's illegitimate son, faced ridicule and became a laughingstock after the duel, which led his father to stop paying attention to him. Emily whispers to Cyan, suggesting that he surrender, but Cyan nonchalantly brushes off her suggestion, stating that he just needs to win. However, internally, he feels a pang of indignation at even a maid looking down on him. Drawing his rapier, Cyan notices its weight, realizing that he has returned to an age where his strength is negligible. He remarks to himself that the sensation he's feeling is definitely not a dream, nor is his life flashing before his eyes. He questions whether he's truly back in the past, as he's never even heard of a magic spell capable of creating such strong illusions. As Cyan stands in front of Cyan with his rapier, Cyan is surprised that Cyan didn't run off. Not finished with his thoughts, Cyan considers the possibility of changing the future as he looks towards his father, who announces the duel to begin. Cyan immediately launches at Cyan, taunting him and calling him an idiot. With a smirk, Cyan attempts to land a blow on Cyan, but Cyan is disappointed by his slow movements, silently questioning why Cyan is so sluggish. Easily evading the attack, Cyan steps away, surprising Cyan, who lands the strike on the ground. Angered, Cyan tries to strike again, accusing Cyan of cowardice for dodging. Before Cyan can follow through, Cyan swiftly disarms him by flinging his sword out of his hand with his rapier, and then kicks his leg, causing Cyan to fall to the ground in pain, screaming. The Duke is surprised, while Cyan's mother calls out to him, watching the match unfold. Looking down at Kranz, Cyan contemplates putting the sword to his throat to end the duel, but gripping his sword tightly, he realizes it's not enough. Throughout his childhood and even in the academy, Kranz had always bullied him for entertainment. With a fierce determination, Cyan resolves to stomp Kranz down so that he can never try anything against him again. In this life, Cyan decides he will pave his own path for himself. After the beatdown, the result of the duel is Kranz's loss, and the Duke orders to see Cyan, even clearing up his schedule. Surprised, Cyan wonders if his victory was that impressive to his father. Accompanied by a high-class knight, Yulkan, directly affiliated with the Duke, Cyan walks through the hallway, encountering Kranz's mother and her maid. Smirking inwardly, Cyan notices the discomfort on her face, realizing she must have been talking to his father about her son and now appears as if she stepped in something unpleasant. Outwardly, he politely asks her if Kranz is okay, addressing her as Madam. With an angered expression, Kranz's mother questions Cyan's audacity to ask such a question after beating up his brother, labeling him as thick-skinned. As both Cyan and the knight walk past them, Cyan replies that it's just how duels are. Unwilling to let go, she continues, remarking that bastards shouldn't be treated like legitimate children, shocking Cyan. She further insults him, implying that it's because his mother is a dirty whore that he's in this position. Angered by her words, Cyan feels his temper rising, remarking that she's crossed the line as he looks back at her with blazing red eyes, asking if he should kill her.